Okay, let's be honest. Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in data? You've got spreadsheets, survey results, all this customer feedback, and it's all there, but what is it actually trying to tell you? Well, in this explainer, we're going to step right into the shoes of a restaurant manager and see how we can turn a total sea of customer survey numbers into a single, game-changing decision.
So, here we are. Our manager has this spreadsheet, and it's packed with feedback from 37 recent customers. They've rated everything, from the food quality to how friendly the server was, all on a simple 1 to 7 scale. And this thing is a gold mine of information. But let's face it, right now, it's really just a jumble of numbers.
Staring at this wall of data, the big question is, what's the real story here? I mean, are our customers absolutely thrilled, or are they just kind of putting up with us? Could we be missing some huge hidden problem? This is the core challenge, right? Turning all that raw data into something you can actually use.
Now, the first thing most of us would do, the big temptation, is to just calculate the average score for each question. It seems like the most logical first step, But what if I told you that the average can be a little bit of a trickster? Sometimes it hides a lot more than it actually reveals.
See, the mean, or the average, it's great for a quick snapshot. It boils everything down into one single number that gives you a general feeling for how you're doing. It's what they call a measure of central tendency, which is just a fancy way of saying it tries to find the center, or the middle ground of all those different opinions. To really see the problem with averages, let's just imagine two different restaurants for a second. At restaurant A, the customers are totally polarized. Half of them love it, they give it a 5 out of 5. The other half, they hate it, a 1 out of 5. Meanwhile, over at restaurant B, everyone is just meh. They all give it a solid 3 out of 5.
And here's the kicker. In both of these cases, the average score is exactly the same, a perfectly average 3 out of 5. But the reality for the managers is completely different. One is dealing with this passionate but totally divided customer base, and the other one is just forgettable. The average all by itself can't tell you which story is actually true.
So if the average isn't the whole story, we're going to need another tool in our toolbox. We need to measure not just the center of the feedback, but also how spread out it all is. We've got to understand the level of agreement or consensus among our customers.
The question then becomes, how do we actually measure this? How can we tell the difference between this beautiful, unified chorus of opinions and just a chaotic mess of disagreement? Well, the answer is something called standard deviation. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. It's actually pretty simple. It's just a number that tells you how much, on average, each customer's rating strays from the mean. Think of it like a disagreement score. A high score means tons of disagreement. A low score means pretty much everyone is on the same page.
And this is where it gets really interesting. A high standard deviation is basically a red flag. It's screaming at our manager that something is polarizing their customers, and they need to dig in and investigate. A low standard deviation, on the other hand, means you've got consensus. Either everybody loves something or, everybody hates it. So we go back to our restaurant survey, and bam, we find our first big clue. While the average score for friendliness of the server looks pretty decent, it has a sky-high standard deviation. This is our smoking gun. It's telling us that some customers think our servers are amazing, while others think they're just plain terrible. Okay, so we know there's a problem with server friendliness, but we still don't know why. To find that out, we need to dig deeper into the data, and for that, we're going to use one of the most powerful tools in any spreadsheet program, the pivot table.
Think of a pivot table like a data playground. It starts as this blank canvas, and it's just inviting you to drag and drop different things from your survey, like customer age or gender, to see how they connect to the satisfaction scores. It's all about asking those what-if questions of your data.
And with just a few clicks, the pivot table works its magic, and it transforms that messy data into a crystal clear table. So here, we've broken down the average satisfaction scores by age group. All of a sudden, we're not just looking at one big misleading average anymore. We're comparing different customer segments side by side.
This is the moment. This is where all of our data detective work is about to pay off. By combining the power of standard deviation and these pivot tables, we are about to go from total confusion to complete clarity and uncover the one insight that is going to change everything for our restaurant manager.
And there it is. The pivot chart tells the whole story in a single glance. Just look at the blue bars for friendliness of the server. For the 18 to 30 age group, the score is a stellar 5.8. Awesome. But for customers 46 and older, it's a dismal 1.7. This is our aha moment.
The disagreement wasn't random at all. It was directly tied to the customer's age.
This one chart changes absolutely everything. We've gone from a confusing, middle-of-the-road average score to a very specific, actionable problem. Our servers are creating vastly different experiences for our older and younger customers. Now, we finally have something we can actually fix.
So let's quickly recap our journey here. We started with that high standard deviation, which told us, hey, there's a problem with server friendliness. Then we used a pivot table to find the why. The disagreement was split right along age lines. And that leads us directly to our action. We need to figure out what in the world is happening in those interactions between our servers and our older customers.
And that action translates into a clear plan. The data is telling us that managers really need to observe how their servers communicate, paying super close attention to the language and the tone they use with older customers. It might even be time to develop different service styles for different age groups.
Ultimately, this whole process just goes to show that data isn't just about crunching numbers. It's really about having a conversation with your customers, but at scale. Every single number is a voice. And when you learn how to listen, they will tell you exactly what you need to do to get better.
So, the next time you're faced with a spreadsheet, don't just settle for the average. Ask yourself, what's the standard deviation here? What are the hidden stories in this data? Because your data is talking. The only question is, are you listening?